Oh, hello. Welcome to the video. In this video, I want to look at some of the big tech stocks just to see what they look like technically. So you're looking at the daily picture of Apple. So you can see at the moment, Apple price is above the relevant moving averages, the 200-day moving average, the black line, the daily 20 EMA, the green line, and the daily 50 EMA, the yellow line. So at the moment, the price is above all of those moving average, which is positive. You can see that the 20 EMA has moved above the 200-day moving average. The yellow one, the 50, is just about to cross above it. So if it crosses above that level, that would be positive because then both of the moving averages would be above the 200-day moving average. You can see the 200-day moving average, which has been moving lower, is beginning to flatten out. Also, if you look at the momentum indicators, you can see our MACD is above the zero line, RSI is above the 50 level. So momentum indicators are positive. Now, stochastic has now reached an overbought condition. So we just need to see, maybe it's time for a little bit of consolidation. But on a daily basis, price action is positive, momentum indicators are positive. If I quickly have a look at the weekly chart, you can see that last few weeks it's been consolidating around the weekly 20 and 50 EMA, and it bounced nicely this week. You can see MACD is crossing above the zero line. This would be a big deal if it can completely cross above the zero line, but it's moving higher. That shows that the weekly momentum is up. You can see that RSI is above the 50 level. It bounced off the 50 level and it's moving higher. So even on a weekly basis, price action looks positive. Momentum indicators are also looking positive. So let's look at some of the levels we should be paying attention to. So I'm just going to get rid of the moving averages and let's look at some horizontal levels that we should be looking out for. Let's remove them. Okay, so let's have a look at let's look at the 4-hour basis. On a 4-hour basis, what you will see is that this area is very important. This is around 157. You can see rejection here, there was rejection here. So this is basically where it found some selling. So this would be an important level. This is 157. If it's able to close above this 157, the next target would be here around 160, and beyond there, which would be around 163.50. Now, if there is a pullback, further pullback, the first level of support is this line right here, which is around 153-ish, and below there would be around 150. So those would be the levels. So the first level of support would be around 153 and then 150. Now 157 is the resistance area. If it's able to take that out, then target 160 and then 163.50. So that's Apple, but keep an eye on the momentum indicators. Watch what happens to RSI. As long as RSI doesn't dip below 50, the bias would be to the upside. If we look at Tesla next, so Tesla, you'll see that at the moment you can see that on a daily basis. So this is Tesla on a daily basis. You can see that price has fallen below the daily 20 and 50 EMAs. So this would definitely be acting as a resistance at the moment. You can see that RSI has fallen below and remains below the 50 level. So this suggests that the momentum is not positive at the moment. Even on a weekly basis, it has closed below the weekly 20 EMA as well as the 200. It also fell below the RSI, fell below the weekly 50. So momentum is kind of lackluster at the moment. Now, what are some of the levels we should be looking out for on Tesla? So let's look at the 4-hour basis, 4-hour or even 2 hours basis. So here's the 2-hour. You can see the levels. So this level right here is a resistance level right here. So this is around 140.85. You can see that it was a support previously, and now it has acted as a resistance. So this would be the level that it needs to get through. If it's able to get through this level, the next level I would target would be this level right here, which is around 197, 198, and beyond there it would be around 208. Why 208? Only because Tesla has traded between this range. So if you take this range and double that, you get to this level. So if Tesla is able to get through this level, 185, and there is price acceptance, then full measured move would project a target to around 208. And then what about the support levels? So the first level of support is right here, which is around 176. And if 176 is breached, then you're looking at the previous low again around 163, 164, 165 level. So those would be the levels I would be watching on Tesla. If we look at Amazon next, so on a daily basis, Amazon is beginning to look, look better recently. If you look at it, from here to here, it was all, lower highs and lower lows. But since then, it seemed to have turned a corner. And you can see that momentum has also improved. You can see that RSI has gotten back above 50 level. MACD is attempting to get back above the 0 level. It hasn't quite done so. So things are beginning to look better for Amazon on a daily basis. The weekly still hasn't, turned, the momentum hasn't turned positive. For that to happen, I want to see RSI above 50, weekly RSI above 50. It hasn't happened, and MACD to get back above the 0 line, so it hasn't happened. So there is some work that needs to be done on Amazon, but there is a potential for this to be a weekly higher low. After forming this low, there is a potential that this could be a weekly higher low. So that's something to keep an eye on. Also, if you look at the weekly moving averages, you can see that at the moment it closed right at the weekly 20 EMA. So the next question would be to see whether it can get above that and maybe move up to the weekly 50 EMA. So that would be ideally what you want to see, is that you want to see the weekly moving averages start to turn and move higher. So we're not there yet. It's making progress. But it hasn't issued a full-blown buy signal on a higher time frame. So let's look at some of the levels that we should be looking out for. So if I bring in the levels, so if you look at the 2-hour, you can see the levels. So Amazon traded between this zone from here to here. So now that it has broken through this level, this was a resistance. If you take the distance and double it, you get to this level. So this level is the ultimate target, which is around 105. But this is basically the halfway. This level right here is the halfway between this level and this level. So this is going to be a resistance, which is around 101. So if it's able to get through 101, I would target 105. And then this level would now act as a support, which is basically 97, because this was a previous resistance. It has taken out that resistance. So watch the 97, and below there, if it falls below this, then it would be this line right here, which is around 92.50. So for the resistance is around 101. It needs to get through here, target 105. Support is around 96.50, which is basically the previous resistance zone. So that's Amazon. Let's look at Microsoft. So if you look at the daily chart of Microsoft, I mean, this is a very strong move to the upside, and you can see it was accompanied by bullish momentum. You can see RSI is moving, moved up, MACD is moving up. So this is looking very strong. Even if you look on a weekly basis, I mean, look at this weekly chart, the candle. It has actually taken out this previous one. You see this candle right here, there was a rejection, weekly rejection around 277. It closed above this. So this is very strong bullish looking candle. Look at momentum indicators. MACD is beginning to cross above the zero line. RSI has bounced off the 50 level. Now, if you look at the monthly chart, I mean, we still have long way to go. I mean, it's making an attempt to get back above the monthly 20 EMA, which would be really bullish. See, last month there was a rejection. It made an attempt, but it failed. Look at RSI. Monthly RSI has gotten back above the 50 level. I mean, this is very, very strong. If it can hold on to it, I mean, we still have quite a few trading days left in this month. But if Microsoft is able to hold on to what I'm seeing on a monthly, this is going to be a very bullish statement in my view. And this is something that I'm watching for, further gains in coming weeks and months. But coming back to on a daily basis, obviously there is potential some profit taking because it had a big run up. RSI at this level usually comes to some profit taking. So what about some of the levels we should be looking at? So let's look at on a 4-hour basis so we can see what the levels are. Let's look at the 2-hour basis so we can see what the levels are. So Microsoft traded between this level and this level, and then it broke out right here. So if you take the distance and double it, so it has achieved that level. It has achieved that target, but now it has gone above that level. So if that's the case, the next level to target would be this right here, which is around what number is that? Around 289. But this level, the gray line right here, is halfway between this line and this line. So this would be the near-term resistance, which is around 282. So near-term resistance is 282, and if 282 gets taken out, then I would target 289. And support would be right here, which is around 275, and then at around 267. So those would be the levels I would be watching. But as I said, daily, weekly, and monthly, they're all looking very strong to me. So this would be one of one of my favorite among the technology. This and Apple, those would be the two I think have the strongest weekly and monthly charts. So I'm watching Microsoft. Let's look at Google next. So on a daily basis, what do we see? So on a daily basis, again, after this decline right here, you can see that it has formed a double bottom, and it has taken out this level. So the daily picture is now beginning to look positive. You can see the momentum indicators have also improved significantly. RSI is now above the 50 level. MACD is crossing above the zero line. So that's why you're now seeing, because momentum has shifted from negative to positive, you're seeing more green candles. Like here, you saw more red, and now you're beginning to see more green candles. And that's basically what happens when momentum turns positive. If I look at the weekly basis, I mean, this is definitely a bullish looking weekly candle. You see, after 3 weeks of basically going sideways, you've got a massive green candle. You can see that weekly RSI has closed above 50. So, I mean, this is a very positive sign. I mean, question is whether it's going to dip back below the 50 level again, as it did right here, as it did right here, as it did right here. The longer it stays above the 50 level, the more relevant I think it becomes, and I would expect further positive outcomes. If I look at the moving averages on a weekly basis, you can see that it has gone above the weekly 200-day and the 20. The weekly 50 is this one. So that would be the next level to target. You can see previously it made an attempt to overcome that but failed. So if it's able to get back above this and these two moving averages beginning to kind of curl and start to move higher. What you want is you want the moving averages start moving higher like this way. So you want them to cross and then they start to move higher. So we're not there yet, but this is definitely a strong statement. So we'll see whether or not this can continue in coming weeks. So what are some of the levels we should be looking out for? So let's look at the 4-hour basis to see what are some of the levels we should be looking out for. Right, okay, so it traded between this level and this level, and then it broke out. When it broke out, you take the distance and double it, and that's basically where it is right now. So this area is, so effectively it has now achieved this, this breakout level. So the levels that I would be watching would be is this. If it continues to move higher, ultimately it would be this level right here, which is around 108.50. But before that, there's an interim level which is around 105.50, which is this black line in the middle. And if there's a pullback, support would be at this level right here, which is around 99.50, and finally 96, which is where the previous breakout level is. But I'm seeing positive things in Google. So what we need to see is whether or not it can follow through and carry on with the positive momentum that I'm seeing. Let's look at NVDA next. So NVDA on a daily basis. So I mean, this is like on a strong move to the upside. If you look at the moving averages, so it's now well above the moving averages, the daily 20, the daily 50, the 200 day. So momentum indicators are all positive. Even if you look at on a weekly basis, that's a very strong move to the upside, but it's also moving away from the moving averages. So that's something to be aware of. But look at the momentum. I mean, that's just very, very strong. There's no question about it. If you look at on a monthly basis, even on a monthly basis, see, this is what happens when RSI remains below 50 and then you break above the 50, then you start to see, monthly green candles. You can see right here when RSI was below 50, you saw monthly red, 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 red. But now that it has gone above the RSI has gone above the 50, now on a monthly basis, you're beginning to see green, 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 something, we saw around this period. Now, having said all of this, obviously you want to be long, NVIDIA, but on a short-term basis, don't rule out any pullback. But I wouldn't expect the pullback to be significant, given the fact that on a higher time frame, the momentum indicators are very strong. Unless the market collapses, unless, let's say, there's a significant decline in the stock market because of what's happening in the banking sector, so forth and so on. If that happens, then obviously, NVIDIA is going to react to it. But in the absence of a significant collapse of the economy and the stock market, I think NVIDIA looks like, has great potential in coming weeks and months. So let's have a look at some of the levels we should be looking out for NVIDIA. So the levels, so let me just zoom out so you can see the levels. Okay, now the levels to watch out would be is this. So NVIDIA basically traded between this level and this level. So now that it has broken out right here, if you take this distance and double this, it gives us a price target of this level, which is around, what level is that? It's around 265. So that would be the level I would target. Now, what about the support levels? The first level of support is this level right here, which is around 255. And then below that would be this level right here, 245, which is basically the breakout level. So you can see this level was a previous resistance. So this level is likely to act as a support. So first level of support is around 255, followed by 245. Resistance is 265. So those would be the levels I would be watching. If we look at end phase very quickly, this one does not look good at all. So you can see that after trading between, so let me just zoom out so you can see. So you can see that after trading between this level and this level, it has broken to the downside. So if you take this distance and double it to the downside, you get a price target of around 165. But there is also support at this level, which is 180, and this level is basically halfway between this halfway between this line and this line. So sometimes you also get like a support at the halfway point, but at the moment this is not looking positive, because if you look at the momentum indicators, they're just they're negative. You can see MACD has turned again and it's moving lower. RSI is now in oversold territory. RSI is around 29, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's any some kind of a bounce. But all of a sudden the solar stocks have become completely out of favor. So watch this stock. AMD next. So this is another one which I happen to like a lot, because if you look at the daily, weekly and monthly, if you look at the weekly chart, you can see, look at this candle. This is a bullish looking weekly candle, and it has taken out this previous high right here. So on a weekly basis, what you're seeing is a low, higher low, higher low, and then you can see high, higher high, and then higher high. You can't get any better than this, and it looks like it's continuing this recovery. And look at RSI, very strong. Yes, it's reaching overbought, but it remains very strong. Look at MACD. MACD is crossing above the zero line, so that's positive. If you look at the monthly chart, this is similar to Microsoft. You can see that RSI, which had been below the 50 level, has crossed above the 50 level. Now we still have few days left in the month, so let's see whether or not it can finish the month above 50, which would be positive. And if you look at the moving averages, you can see that the 20 moving average was a problem, and it's making an attempt to overcome it. So we don't know whether or not it's going to be able to finish the month above the 20 EMA. If so, that would be a bullish development. So we'll revisit AMD at the end of the month, see what the monthly picture looks like. But at the moment, so far so good. So what are some of the levels we should be looking out for in AMD? So let's have a look at the so let's go to the 4-hour chart so we can see the levels. Again, if you look at it, AMD traded between this zone and this zone, and then it broke out right here. So if you take this distance and double it, so you get to where AMD is right now. So effectively what has happened is that it has now completed the move. Once it trades in a range, because you can see it traded inside this range for a long period of time. Once it breaks out of that range, you can expect a move equal to that. So it has now completed it. All right, fine. So what do we expect now? So if there is a pullback, then I would expect support, first level of support, to be right here around 93, and then finally around this level, which is around 88, and resistance, if it's able to break through this level, then the next level to target would be around 104. So 104 would be the next level to target, assuming that it's able to break through 99. But the support would be around 93. But if you look at the daily, weekly, monthly, it's looking quite strong at the moment. So I would be looking for long opportunity. I wouldn't be buying anything at this price. I would wait for some pullback, some consolidation. Then I think I would then look for a long position. But at the moment, I would take profit and stay on the sideline. And wait for an entry level, wait to get back in if, let's say, one of these levels is reached. Well, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you like the video, please consider subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff. Thank you very much.